Last episode, we got spiders. That went great, but we never got the spider jockey. And this is a tricky one to get. So there's only a 1 in 100 shot that a spider will spawn that way, and so it's pretty rare. And it's also very difficult to transport. So because they are so rare, we're really at the mercy of however the skeleton spawns, whether it has armor or whether the bow is enchanted or the spider has any sort of effects on it. And so what we really need is a facility that can produce a bunch. Not just like a random one here and there, but I want to see like a group of them. And then this way we can pick and choose which spider jockey we want. So for this, we're going to need a factory. And where I'm thinking this will go will be on top of our existing mob farm. I've never loved the plain wood roof of this anyways, so we'll build directly on top of this. We'll start by destroying what I built last episode. I like the aesthetics of this, and I think we'll remember the style for the future, but it doesn't match this island, and also it didn't work at all. So we'll get rid of this and move on. Probably not using TNT though. That did absolutely nothing. Alright, I think we got something going. Look at this. I use the same material palette as the rest of the island so it fits the context. It's just a shell right now. We'll have to actually figure out how this thing works, but we have a chunk of the monotonous building out of the way. I thought I would also show you how it looked from this side of the island, so we'll fly up to it. We should be good on horizontal space. I would be shocked if we needed more than this. Vertically, I also think we'll be good, but I'm a little bit less confident. But we'll know for sure once we get designing. The first step to sorting anything is we need to get control of it, and spiders are notoriously hard to control. They're shaped differently than other mobs. They have the ability to climb, which is very obnoxious. So how are we going to stop them from doing that? Well, my first thought was honey. Mobs can't jump, so maybe spiders can't climb. And I think that should work, but Mojang did not think that it should work that way. So we can't do that. So the next thought I had is, are there any blocks that they can't climb? And there are, but it's really just like sugarcane and other blocks that you can just walk through. So this idea will not work either. But the one thing that does work is they can only climb on the side of things. They can't climb directly under something. So if you think of how we climb ladders or vines, the game basically just lets spiders have the same mechanic just for all blocks. No creature, ladder or otherwise, can climb directly under blocks, and that leads us to something that will work. If we vary the horizontal distance, we can prevent them from climbing up. We just need a bit of a lip, and then they can't go over that. And it does seem like once they start falling, they can't grab onto the side of the block again until they hit the ground. We can use the lip and have that happen after they fall down. So once they fall down, then they're trapped. Controlling them is critical to being able to sort them, because if we can't control them like this, then we have no shot at being able to sort them. The next step in the design is we need to be able to move them along a track that will ultimately kill them. So we basically need to kill 99 spiders for every 1 jockey. So this track keeps them pinned down and moves them quickly to however we'll end up killing them. Last episode, I was using a 2x2, and that was really tight. Using a 3-wide track should smooth things out, getting them in and out of the system. A lot of the times, the spiders can grab the edge of blocks instead of falling, so I've had a lot better luck putting up signs underneath to hold the water up and then having walls below. The walls in the game are 1.5 times as tall as a normal block, even though they show is just the same size as a normal block. So that keeps them elevated and helps the spider get eased over. The other thing I want to point out is how finicky the wall is. So if a block is behind the wall, then it'll bump out. And that bump, if that bump will cause a clog because the spider can potentially get jammed on it. So we need to make sure that we don't have any bumps around our system. Okay, so I think we have something going here. So we're going to use the height of spider jockeys to sort them. It was very important to keep them pinned down because otherwise they could climb up and trigger the tripwire. But now that they're pinned down, only the jockeys will be able to trigger the tripwire. And then since spiders are 2x2, we actually won't need the middle track. So we'll keep signs there to hold the water up, but then we'll retract pistons on both sides, and then that will leave a 3x3 space for the jockey to fall through. So we'll spawn a spider jockey now. they'll retract and then he'll fall. And then when we put other spiders through, they won't hit it. Yeah, that is looking great. Alright, so we are on top of the factory. So before I show the sorter, I thought we would start with the collection tray. In order to not make this whole factory look like a complete box, I thought I would help the aesthetics by cutting the corners on the sides. So only the base is a box, and then on the top, it's really more of a plus sign. And so what I'm thinking is we'll get the spiders to drop into the tray, and then the tray will be the square inside of the plus, and then the tips of the plus will make glass. So nothing will be able to spawn on that, and then we can also get some natural light in. Alright, here's the sorter. It's pretty similar to what was in creative. Basically, we will drop them into the middle chamber if they are a jockey, or they'll continue to the wither flower area and then just die there. So here's the chamber where we'll keep the jockeys. My plan is all AFK, and then they'll start to accumulate in this area. We'll stay close by, and then they will be significantly less likely to despawn. Then we can just name what we want and keep them that way. Alright, so while I'm up here, I'll show this a little bit. They'll fall down through here, and then all the non-jockeys will drop into the wither area. I made this a plus because sometimes the spiders will grab onto the side still, and then the water pushing from the other side, both of those streams can direct them. So hopefully that smooths things out. I made this into a full plus. In reality, it probably only needs to be a T. But yeah, this will work great. So this leads us to the next item, which is the spawning pads themselves. That's what we'll work on next. We're here, and I've already put up a couple of levels. So we're using this O pattern, and then to turn this off, we'll just drop lava through the center of all of these, and then we'll use a slab to make sure we only get spiders spawning here. And the next thing we need is the slab so that the jockey doesn't get hurt. In my experience, spiders will just walk off, so we don't need to make this super high efficiency with iron golems or anything. We'll just make this high enough that it spawns enough, and the spiders will just walk off, and that will be great. But I started the recording specifically at night so that we could see the rates of it without the roof, and this is horrible. I am a bit concerned. Oh, you know what? I should probably shut off the mob system below us. Yeah, that would probably be very helpful. So the button, we'll go to the button now. The button is just down here in this area, and we'll push this in, and it'll spit lava out similar to what we're planning. I'll just leave the bottom farm off for probably the rest of this, and I'm sure that will kick the rates up. Okay, I am seeing spiders now, but this is still a terrible rate, so we'll have to go up a lot more. Right now I'm thinking 10 floors total. Guys, I'm building the roof and growing more wood up here, but I have to show you something. Look at this. Not one, but 2 spider jockeys. This is actually really crazy. The odds of this are insane. Okay, so let's go down and check out our sorter and see if we set things up right. Did we do this right? Let's find out. Okay, so the first one's good. That's great. And that's not great. So I think the second one triggered and dropped water on the first one. We have some bad news. This guy got through, and just to add punishment to pain, he got stuck on the corner I specifically designed to not get spiders stuck on. So that makes 3 jockeys that this thing has failed at getting. I'm looking at, we're going to need a redesign of a lot of this. Both the drop-off for the killing chamber and the sorter part. And, you know, actually while I'm at it, the tray on the top could be switched a little bit to sort things better. So is that everything? I guess I like the form of the factory. I guess I like the shell that we made. So we have that going for us. Yeah, I actually didn't notice this before, but I did grab 1 spider jockey. So, you know, this thing isn't all bad. It just needs tweaking, and it just needs optimization. Okay, so we have a lot of changes that we want to make, and we can't do it while the system is on. So I thought now would be a great time to show how we'll turn it on and off. I think I'll put a button up here. I just didn't have any on me. But basically, we have lava in the dispensers, and we'll just turn this on. And we'll just keep this on, and we'll fix everything, and then we'll just we'll turn it back off, and we'll be good to go. Well, this project has literally become a dumpster fire. It looks like the lava is setting the wood on fire. Alright, so we'll just expand the deep slate part of this, 5 blocks out, and I think that that should be fine. I tell you guys, I cannot catch a break on this one. Sometimes I feel like, okay, so when I was a child, my dad was the type of guy to never pay someone for anything that he couldn't figure out how to do himself. So when we needed to remove a tree from our front yard, obviously we were going to figure out how to do it over paying someone. And it was a huge project. We wanted to cut everything up into tiny pieces so that over the next 6 months we could slowly stuff it in our yard waste bin. I think not all cities have this yard waste bin, but we had one, and so like we had a trash, a recycle, and a yard waste. And by golly, we were going to use our yard waste bin. We were not going to pay to take it somewhere. So it took like every Saturday for like 2 months to get that tree, to reduce it to a stump. Whenever we would go out doing this, our neighbor across the street would come out on the porch, sit, crack a beer, and then just watch us. He would wave if we looked at him, but he was like just chilling in the shade and watching us. He was getting his entertainment out of watching us slowly and painfully turn the tree into tiny pieces. Anyway, sometimes I think about that when I'm doing these projects. You guys are there just chilling, watching me slowly and painfully figure things out. And thank you guys for that. Thank you for all the support that you give me. It's really awesome, and I appreciate it a lot. All right, so the tray is good. Okay, so I wanted to fix this because spiders could grab onto any edge previously, and that would slow things down. And now that the whole thing is flat, they'll just get pushed to the center, where we'll have a similar problem, but with the wall trick, that'll make things a little bit smoother. Even still, it isn't 100% perfect, but it's a vast improvement, and that's what's important. And normally doing a water tray like this is a huge no-no. Most mobs can just stop on the spots in between with the gates, but because the spiders are 2x2, or at least pretty close to 2x2, the water will still move them, and so everything will be fine. So why the glass? Well, I learned doing this that mobs can actually spawn on ice with an open gate, and obviously we don't want that. So all of the blocks have been swapped to glass if they are under a gate. Okay guys, this has been tinkered with as well. I cut out the corners and now the spiders slide straight through. Glass is nice because it never makes the nub the same way that walls do. And doing it this way, I have not seen a single spider get caught. They all go straight through. So we switched to glass panes because they are thinner than walls, so we can make that underneath part of the wall. And the wall at the top can use the fall, and then the pane at the bottom can then keep the spiders there. The next thing I want to point out is I cut a bigger hole out for what gets retracted. Originally we just had a 3x3 and I had 3 pistons. So we still have those 3 pistons, but then I just cut a 1x3 void before and after that the spiders are too big to fall under. So then when everything gets retracted, the fall area is now 3x5 in total. And then I also switched it to glass because I saw one of them start to take damage from the ice closing in on them from like smothering. And yeah, this place has been cleaned up as well. We have lights in here so it isn't so gloomy, and then wood down below the ice so that we don't get the dripping water effect. And yeah, this is turning into a real facility. One thing that we do not have a great solution for is ensuring that they do not despawn. So we'll stand near them and that will make them significantly less likely to despawn, but that won't completely solve it. So I would say, my first instinct would say put them in the nether, but they can't go into the nether. So where does that leave us? I've given it a lot of thought and I've researched it a bit, and I think the best option is Diamond Bot. So this is a Diamond Bot. He's a robot. He will stand guard and prevent mobs from despawning. Hopefully, probably. Yeah, that's what we're going with here. So yeah, that's going to be our strategy. Look at this group we have going here. We have ourselves a herd, a flock of spider jockeys. Actually, what is the correct term? Looks like cluster is probably the most correct. So we have ourselves a cluster of spider jockeys, and here's the fun part. We get to be choosy. I don't like the enchanted bow. I think it distracts from the rest of the spider, so we get to say pass on that one, and then we can use the other ones. And so what we're going to do is we're going to remove the other ones that we don't want, because I'm afraid of them dying in a skeleton duel. That would be horrible. And then we'll move the one that we want to our collection. Alright, so how are we going to bring him over? So I have set up a tunnel, and we're going to bring him from the laboratory over and then drop him into his cage from the top. So we'll bring him over by getting the spider to chase us, and then we'll go to the cage now. So I'm thinking we'll keep him right above the spiders. It'll just kind of be a straight line up. So I've temporarily replaced the bottom layer of blocks with walls so that once he falls down, he's trapped down. We'll have him there, and then we'll be able to put the glass over him. And then we need glass to be over him because the spider will climb up and suffocate the jockey if there's any other block. And so now we'll look at the bridge and that across. On the bridge, we have a couple of redundant methods to hold him down. We have the lip and then also the glass. It's open on one side so that I can run in front of them with them. And then finally, on top of all of this, we have a roof so that the sun doesn't burn the skeleton. And I just double checked the path, so we should be good. We were not good. The spider despawned and left the skeleton, which was very frustrating because I killed the other ones. Now I'm wondering, is this even possible? So do we need to name both of them? Will that solve the problem? I don't know. So what we're doing here is we're in a creative world and we're going to find out together. So we have 4 jockeys here. One is just the spiders named. Next, just the skeleton. Now both of them are named, and then finally neither are named. So I'm going to go far away and then see which ones despawn and then find out, is keeping one of these guys even possible? We're back and we have answers. So I was as far away as possible with it still being loaded and waited just AFK for like 20 minutes. So when we named neither, obviously they despawn, and when we named both, they're both fine, which is awesome. When just the skeleton is named, the spider can despawn, and that's what happened to us. And then most interesting to me is I think we would have been fine had we only named the spider. I guess the game won't let the skeleton despawn so long as it's riding the spider. Even still though, I think I'll probably just name both of them because why not? Okay, so over my work lunch, I came home and then just let this thing AFK. And I'm sure a bunch spawned and despawned, but this is what we're left with, and this will do the trick. We still have the traditional spider jockey, and that's really all we need. So I'll get to naming, and then we'll bring them over. I got one in place. Fingers crossed it doesn't despawn, but I think we're good. Also, I had this idea. So stray skeletons only naturally spawn in bedrock, but what if we convert the skeleton to a stray while he's still riding? Can we freeze only the skeleton while the spider is left free to not freeze and survive? Guys, it worked. We have a stray spider jockey that the wiki says isn't even in Java. Kind of a shame we can't use a wither flower to convert a wither skeleton jockey as well. But all right, I'm gonna knock this down and bring him over. Look at this, guys. Look at this. We got him, and everything worked mostly fine. Funny story, I started removing the bridge and they started burning, and I noticed just in the nick of time. So I put this obsidian here, and they all have like 1 health left. And now with the obsidian in place, it'll be much harder for me to forget and then accidentally murder them. This is sick. I'm so proud that we got them. If you like the wacky build part of this, I recommend watching the witch farm that I made by converting villagers into witches. Otherwise, the prequel to this, where I collect the regular potion spiders, is a good one to watch as well. Alright, thanks guys!